Good morning and a very warm welcome to all the distinguished guests, faculty members, and participants who have joined us from all across the India for this 5 days online faculty development program being organized by the Maharishi University of Information Technology under the title of Capacity Building for Effective Online Teaching and E-Content. The COVID-19 infused pandemic has accelerated adoption of digital technology. Various tools have been implemented in digital pedagogy in the lockdown scenario. This trend is likely to continue post COVID 19 too. The shift in learning from classroom to digital mode has brought forward new sets of challenges and opportunities, both for the students as well as the faculty members. And hence, learning will now move from a teacher centric to a student centric or a learner centric approach. Democratization of technology and pedagogical changes also need to occur for effectiveness of learning in the digital. It is time to rethink the teaching learning process and design the new learning paradigm. The teaching methodology should embrace the flipped class method, where the students come to class expecting to learn high level skills. Faculty members are expected to meet the needs of all the students and move them towards fulfillment of their individual potential, even as they are pressured to prepare students for maximum performance of high stake assessment tests that are the primary measure of their and institutional success. Technology can assist with these expectations and make teachers and the students more successful. The out of box thinking can alternate the presentation of material and any other types of learning activities as frequently as the faculty desires. Today, the field is open for innovation, and the faculty can discover different pedagogy of effective online teaching that others haven't thought through. For seamless execution of classroom, it is the time to train the faculty on how to teach online effectively and make them acquainted with the digital platform. This FDP aims to orient the teachers for a technology-rich future and keeps up with the changing change by adopting effective strategies that infuse lessons with appropriate technologies. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the FDP, I would like to provide an overview of different sessions that we have organized over a span of 5 days during this event. The first session for the FDP will be delivered by Professor Vivek Kumar, who will be joining us from IIT Delhi. He will be delivering a talk on how to effectively plan the digital pedagogies and ensure effective virtual communications for maximum impact during deliverance in online classes. The second session will go a little deeper into the factors linked to the designing of online courses for creative learning, along with addressing major roadblocks being faced by faculty members and students alike in this switch which has happened from the physical classrooms to the virtual ones. Hence, a well tailored content eases the way of learning for the student and makes the process effective and impactful for both the teacher and the learner alike. This session will be chaired by Dr. Udit Bhatia from IIT Gandhinagar. The third session on 4th September will be taken up by Dr. Laksh from IIT BHU, who will stress on the importance of syncing education with industry demands. The education around the globe is centered on its applicability in the real life situations and most possibly industries. However, the pandemic has changed the perception of education along with the skill sets which are required for market survival. This session will provide an overview of the current industry demands and how the online education can be synced to enable the students to acquire the skill set. The fourth session in the series discusses the very crux of the education system, its assessment process. In the wake of virtual classes and education, the proper and thorough assessment and evaluation matrices need to be redefined as they form the rigid pillar of education. The session, chaired by Dr. Mayank Singh from IIT Gandhinagar, will address the various alternatives which could be used to assess and evaluate the true learning curve of the students and its true sustainability in the current scenario of virtual education. The fifth session on 7th September will be chaired by Dr. Amit Agarwal, Director, APJ Abdul Kalam Institute of Technology from Uttarakhand, and will pertain to discussion on different delivery modes and platforms which could be explored for the better implementation of virtual learning. With the number of online delivery platforms available and high content flow coming in from various MOOC courses, the faculty members indeed walk a very thin line of carefully guiding the students, employing the above mentioned resources towards achieving the true essence of the education. The valedictory session will be chaired by Honorable Director General, MUIT, Professor O.P. Sharma, with the chief guest Dr. Devendra Saroj, who is the Director of Research at University of Surrey in UK. I would now like to request Vice Chancellor MUIT to kindly welcome the dignitaries for the session.
Thank you, Dr. Nikita Basant, for such a wonderful induction of the event. I, Professor Bhanu Pratap Singh, Vice Chancellor, Maharishi University of Information Technology, with great pride would like to welcome our Honorable Chancellor Sri Ajay Prakash Srivastavji, Chief Guest for the session, Dr. Manoj Kumar Patarya, all the dignitaries and fellow faculty members to this 5 days online faculty development program. In the past 2 years, coronavirus pandemic has upended the higher education system across the world. One of the sector which is the worst hit by the virus is the higher education sector, where the student and staff are confined in their homes, and educational transaction among them is completely depend on technology. The capacity of diverse higher education institutions, especially in rural and remote areas, in adopting and adapting technology is leading to further divide and complexities. In order to facilitate uninterrupted academic activities, online mode will be the way forward. This program has been specially designed to cover the nuances of online teaching in detail and will help the attendees to develop and deliver online content professionally. This online faculty development program has been designed to create awareness and enable the faculty, student, and research scholar to efficiently use the latest information and communication technology for assessing, organizing, and sharing information, and the institute to achieve improved student outcome and quality research. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Chancellor sir for kind words of motivation.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Patarya. Welcome to this program. I think the topic that you have chosen, Rishi sir, is very timely. Although we have already gone by force of nature, we had to start the e-content and online teaching almost 2 years ago, because of, and at that time, many of the institutions were not ready to accept that technology. But we have evolved, we have developed during this period. This is what the human human beings do actually when हम लोग बचपन में पढ़ते थे, कहते थे आवश्यकता आविष्कार की जननी है. So when there is a need, we evolve things. So in the last 1.5 years, almost 2 years, we have actually evolved a lot of good processes for online content delivery, online teaching, but it needs more and more new technologies and new ideas how to effectively deliver this knowledge to our students, so that's beneficial to them. They learn quite well. They use it in their future things. Although personally, I think the campus life of a college or a school is also very important in overall development of the student. And hopefully, this coronavirus, as it is going away, hopefully all the schools will open for some time, maybe. But still, we will have to keep the combination of online and offline technology content delivery, and that this faculty development program of 5 days would be very helpful in that, for our faculty to understand how other institutions, especially Nikita has chosen a lot of good institutions and a lot of good experts to deliver their experience and their knowledge in next 5 days. So with this, our faculty will learn a lot and hopefully improve upon what they are doing right now. I think even right now, our faculty members are doing quite well in terms of delivering their content to the students. But with this new knowledge, with our experts that Dr. Nikita Basant has put together this 5 days program, our faculty will learn a lot. And these, I think, VC sir, these faculty development program should be a common feature I think you do have a lot of time faculty development program. This should be a common feature because new and new technologies are coming, new and new knowledge is coming, new and new ways of imparting knowledge is coming. So all those things with the help of experts, our faculty should learn, and then our students should benefit from that. I wish all the best for this program, and I thank Dr. Nikita Basant for organizing this event, and all the team of MUIT, Maharishi University, for organizing this event. And I wish all my very best for everything for the program. Jai Gurudev, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words of motivation, which have been the constant driving force in our pursuit to excellence. It is with great honor and pleasure that I would now like to welcome the chief guest for this session, Professor Manoj Kumar Patarya, sir, Advisor and Scientist G, Science and Engineering Research Council, Department of Science and Technology in the Government of India, who is responsible for promoting scientific research and innovation in the country. In his prior assignment, he has served as Director, CSIR, National Institute of Science Communication and Information Resources, and taken a number of initiatives. Earlier, Dr. Patarya was Additional Director General of Doordarshan and All India Radio, where he was responsible for setting up a 24/7 satellite TV channel, DD Kisan, including external broadcasts. He also served as head and advisor for National Council for Science and Technology Communication and started a variety of innovative programs. A well-accomplished scientist, academician, administrator, and communication professional, Professor Patarya specializes in biosciences, mass media, management, and policy. He is decorated with prestigious national and international awards. He has a number of publications and 2 Indian patents to his credit. He has authored, edited, and co-edited widely acclaimed books, Genes Write the Story, Sharing Science, and Science Meets Communication. He has been visiting professor at National University of South Korea and University of Sao Paulo in Brazil. He also served as the outstanding professor in the Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research, that is ACSIR, and adjunct professor at National Institute of Advanced Studies and Guided Research. He is president of the Society for Information Science and founding fellow of the Academy of Engineering and Technology of the Developing World under aegis of UNESCO. He has been elected as chair of International AASSA Special Committee on Shared Communication. That is recognition of positioning India at global level in the area of science and communication. I would now like to welcome Dr. Patarya to kindly address the audience.
So very good morning to all of you. It's my privilege and pleasure to be part of this wonderful program, especially the Chancellor Shri Ajay Prakash Srivastava ji, Professor BP Singh ji, Dr. Nikita Basant ji, all dear faculty members, dignitaries, experts, and dear students. It's my privilege and pleasure to share some of my yesterday thoughts on this occasion of this faculty development program of the Maharishi University of Information Technology. When it comes to sharing my thoughts, I always prefer to somehow convey my views on a couple of aspects which are really important to pass on to the younger generations, especially through the teachers and faculty members. The first of all, there has to be communication, because communication is very, very important, especially when it comes to education, awareness, and whatever we are required to do, we have to have communication. So a right kind of communication is the key for overall development. So our students and teachers have to be communicative. And when we talk about communication, it is not only language, it is communication of ideas, communication of thoughts, communication of culture, and communication of all, I think, sorts of ideas which are required for the overall development. I would like to emphasize on out-of-the-box thinking. I think that kind of communication is very, very important. Innovative communication, creative communication. I think these are some of the areas which are really required to be focused upon when we are talking about the faculty development program. Generally, our faculties are working day and night on their area of expertise, but at the same time, it is also required to have a kind of aptitude and attitude for acquiring knowledge on various aspects of life. So that is also very, very important. That makes our efforts more cohesive, more focused, and more wider and more effective. So that is one. And second point is the aptitude. As I have talked in the beginning, two things are very, very important. One, the knowledge, and the other is how to make best use of that knowledge. Because a person could be knowledgeable, but how we are putting into use that knowledge, I think that makes a difference. So how we are able to make best use of the knowledge, it requires certain kind of attitude and aptitude. And more precisely, we are talking about the scientific attitude. So what is this scientific attitude all about? Scientific attitude means how analytical we are, how rational we are, how systematic we are, and how we are able to take decisions on right point of time. Because our decisions taken today are going to impact our tomorrow and day after tomorrow, the lives of our children and grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So our decisions have to be very effective, very rational, and logical. Because this is everyone, wherever we are, we have to take decision. Whether we are in a home, we are in an office, or wherever we are working, we have to take decisions. So scientific temper enables us to take right kind of decision at right point of time. Because if we are unable to take the decision at right point of time, then what will happen? It is the time that is going to take the decision on our behalf. Then we have no option other than to accept the decision that time has taken for us. So don't leave it on time. Better to take your own decision. Enable your fellow citizens, students, and whosoever comes into your contact to take right kind of decision at right point of time. Generally, scientific temper or scientific attitude is misunderstood by the scientific knowledge, whereas the scientific knowledge is different and scientific temper is different. Although if you have the scientific knowledge, it helps to acquire scientific temper, but scientific knowledge cannot be a prerequisite for having a scientific temper. Even an illiterate person, a farmer working in the field, can have a scientific temper. At the same time, a scientist studied MSc, PhD, and higher degrees may be lacking the scientific temper. So scientific temper has nothing to do directly with the knowledge, scientific knowledge. So I think that misbelief has to be understood very carefully. Generally, we consider if we have done BSc, MSc, or PhD, scientific temper is automatically going to come to us. But that is not true. Even as I said, a farmer or a villager, or although villagers are also knowledgeable people, they have their own kind of knowledge that we are lacking. And we also have some kind of knowledge that they are lacking. So there comes the role of sharing knowledge. So I think this all about communication, knowledge, innovativeness, and attitude, it makes a great difference. And our faculty members should not be, I think they are the people who can connect not only with the students and faculty, but also villagers, nearby communities. So I think that will give them more edges for connecting with the society and really serving the country at a large. Now coming to this e-content. E-content is very, very important. For last 1.5 years, we are just experiencing the power of e-content, open learning, open access, open science. So many new things are coming to the fore. And especially the mobile phone, laptop, and all these gadgets have really become a boom for a new era of education and communication. Earlier, we used to restrict our children from using mobile phones. Now they are attending their classes online using mobile phones and laptop. So all these things are, time is changing. And especially because of this pandemic, we have learned number of way outs. For instance, the Department of Science and Technology has started a program called YASH, Year of Awareness on Science and Health, with a special focus on COVID-19. As part of this program, we have produced a number of software materials. One of them is called COVID Katha. COVID Katha is a to Z multimedia guide on everything on COVID-19. It has been prepared in a very lucid and very interesting manner, available on DST website free of cost. It can be downloaded on your mobile, on your laptop, can be accessed, and number of websites are connected with it. It not only giving the standard and very what we call the scientific information only, it is giving the information in a very lucid and interesting manner. Like for instance, if you want to learn something, you can listen to a folk song. इसमें बुंदेलखंड के लोकगीत आपको मिलेंगे, ब्रज भाषा के लोकगीत मिलेंगे, and you will find some satire or maybe something on Kathakali from Kerala, something from some puppetry from Rajasthan, some bihu from Northeast. So this is a kind of multimedia platform that we have been able to produce for really educating the people at large regarding this corona crisis. And as a matter of fact, number of teachers, they are making use of it. And through this COVID Katha, they are able to explain to their pupils, to their children, their students at the nooks and corners of the country in their own languages about various aspects of COVID-19 pandemic. This COVID Katha is available in Hindi and English to begin with. Now it is open to all. And I am very happy to share that many voluntary organizations and volunteers, they have translated this COVID Katha in various Indian languages like Tamil, Kannada, Bangla, Assamia, Khasi, and so on and so forth. We have also brought out a kind of science fiction on COVID-19 called, in English, it is COVID Tales, and it is in Hindi, it is COVID Nama. So this is the way how we can creatively produce that kind of material, which can be easily circulated online, easily accessible online, can be utilized on mobile phones, can be utilized on computer or iPad or whatever gadget we are having. So this is really very, very important to produce that kind of material. And when we are thinking of that kind of material, it is not only text and graphics. It may include some audio, it may include some video. Audio and video are not sufficient also. So you can have animation. And where animation cannot work, we can use simulation. So these are the techniques which are really available nowadays for making our content, e-content, more effective, more assimilable, especially for the students. Students who are joining the open courses, who are joining the regular courses, this can be utilized as a supplementary material. I would like to cite an example here. Recently, you must have also seen in the media that a newspaper, Observer, this newspaper has done the first experiment for writing a kind of editorial by way of using computer and robotics. And this editorial, they have given some instruction to the robotic computer, and computer has just translated the ideas into a script. And the script is readily able to be published in the newspaper. And newspaper published this editorial written by not a man, not a woman, but a computer, robotic computer. So this is the beginning of a kind of new era of this kind of content creation, very creatively. And this is for the first time, we should be using this kind of mechanism, this kind of robotic computational systems and knowledge for creating a lot of content. I'm very happy to share that you must have also learned that number of fiction, number of poetry, and various contents are now being created by this kind of technology. And moreover, artificial intelligence is making inroads for kind of intelligent systems that is providing a lot of opportunities and a lot of leverage for developing new era e-content, especially for education in science and technology. Say, for example, this artificial intelligence augmented with virtual reality and augmented virtual reality. While watching on your screen, you can really experience that something is coming out of your screen. You can feel like it is jumping on your screen. So these kinds of lively and virtual kind of productions which are now available, which are now possible. So we have to make best use of this kind of technology. Let us understand that India is not lagging behind in any kind of these technological advancements. Whatever happening in Western countries or so-called developed countries, it is happening in India also. It is only our willpower, it is only our affordability, it is only our vision and mission to be able to produce that kind of material. So shifting from the routines to the new era of communication and education, especially by providing e-content, I think it is very, very important for using these latest technologies, because people are now, I think people want change. E-content means it is not only putting the books, putting the textbooks in digital mode. It is not sufficient. We have to be more creative. How we can produce creative experiments, how we can produce creative visuals supported with animations, simulations, and all these virtual technologies. So I think our faculty members have to put in efforts. They can join some advanced courses which are available within the country, outside the country for such kind of productions, because technology is available. And by the time, if we are really missing this time, I think we will be missing a lot of a kind of whole generation for that kind of activities. It is happening in the Western world. It should happen in the developing countries like India, which is very fast moving forward in the area of all walks of life, let alone education and communication. I would like to give an example. There is an organization under Commonwealth of Learning. It is called Commonwealth Educational Media Center for Asia. They are offering number of training programs. They are offering number of academic programs, especially on open education resource, MOOCs, that is massive, massive open kind of courses. So these are the things which is the need of the hour. May not be the big courses, small courses we can design, we can produce on various aspects by way of providing e-content, offering e-platforms, and harnessing the technology which is available on our fingertips. Traditionally, we have a number of activities which are already going on, such as educational TV, educational radio. Gyan Darshan was the first one that was started. CEC, Consortium for Educational Communication, working under UGC, offers a number of platforms. So I think our faculty members must be aware of it and must be taking advantage of it. So all these things are traditionally available. But what I am emphasizing, we have to innovatively venture into new era of technology to expose our kids, to expose our faculty members, to expose our children for that kind of newness, innovativeness, so that they can think ahead. They can always go ahead of time. So I think that is what I wanted to share on this occasion of this inaugural session of this faculty development program. And I would like to congratulate the management, the university, and all of you for organizing this program for development of faculty. That is very, very important. I think we should give much emphasis on faculty development program, not only a general program to begin with, but we can have focused program on certain aspects. So that will make more tangible impact on various aspects of communication and education by way of using e-platform and e-content. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and wish you all the best. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patarya, for your kind words. Your presence greatly enhanced this events platform and helped us start this FDP on such a high and motivational note. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So before we start with the first session of the FDP, which is supposed to start around 12 o'clock. So in the meantime, I would request all the participants to kindly reconvene again at 12, and we can start with the FDP sessions.
So meanwhile, shall I take leave? It is nice to meet all of you.
No, sir, kindly listen to me also.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
In fact, I take the podium out of turn at times, and this is one of the such occasions. I am the Director General of the University, Dr. Manoj Kumar, and I must thank you and gratefully acknowledge your presence. And you have given us new insight into the FDP. We call FDP as Deepam. Deepam means the enlightened people enlighten others, those who are not so enlightened. Deep se deep jale. Three things which we have brought out are very important for us, for all of us, for all participants, and we all in the management. One part is communication got to be innovative, got to be creative, got to be out of box. And most of us are conventional in our approach. The effort has to be totally to challenge the convention, and then only out of box learning, teaching can take place. Second point, which you so convincingly highlighted, is about related to certain digital transformation. We are not indeed in a position to accept all that which is being done. All that required is firstly the knowledge base, secondly the infrastructure support. We are moving forward in that direction because our main thrust area is to transform potentiality into actuality. Actuality is already perfection in man, as Swami Vivekananda said. Since it is manifestation of education, manifestation of perfection already in man, we got to translate that. And now we are in digital transformation stage. So therefore, the concept which is very rigid in the mind of few people, that we can do away with online, it will never happen. Online is part of living. It will continue with us. And when COVID-19 will go and will leave us, we really don't know. There is a thinking on part of all people, those who are engaged in this area, all experts. They have been talking that we got to stay with all this what is happening today. Pandemic is now becoming endemic. Therefore, we must get into this e-part, e-content part, e-delivery part, and e-learning part. And all this got to be accepted, and we must get onto the audio, video, beyond audio, video. We must have the animation, as you rightly pointed out. We must have the robotics, and we must have those type of things where narration is easily understood, comprehended by all students. And whenever opportunity comes, we must have the offline classes as well. Because the education has three aspects. One is affective, other is cognitive, and third is psychomotor. Cognitive part is e-learning, yes, fine. But affective part, which is essentially socialization, and psychomotor part, which is ultimately leading to your those muscular energization, that only could be done when we are outside of the house, not by sitting on the computer, on the laptop. So we certainly keep taking, and we certainly keep working on advantage of your association with us, Dr. Manoj Kumar, and we will certainly send a formal request to you to be the member of our advisory board. Thanks for being with us. God bless. All yours, Nikita and Professor Bhanu now.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, DG sir, for your kind words in the inaugural session. It is helping us kickstart the FDP on a very high note. Thank you for that. I would again request all the participants to kindly reconvene at 12 when we would be beginning with the first session of the FDP. Thank you everyone for joining us back again. Now we would like to move forward with the first session of the FDP and welcome Professor Vivek Kumar, Professor from IIT Delhi. Thank you so much, Professor Kumar, for virtually joining us today as guest speaker for the session on planning digital pedagogies and effective virtual communication. Professor Kumar completed his PhD in 2000 from IIT Delhi. He was a postdoctoral fellow IWT at Applied Science University in Germany. He has been involved in teaching and research in IIT Roorkee and IIT Delhi since 2004. He was a visiting research professor at the Department of Chemical Engineering and Applied Chemistry at the University of Toronto in Canada. He has been the recipient of many awards and honors, including SRF grant awarded from Shastri Indo-Canadian. Dr. Vivek has more than 18 years of research and development and academics experience. He has been involved in many research projects, mostly related to monitoring and treatment of industrial wastes. I would now like to request Professor Kumar to kindly begin the session.
So first of all, I must thank Bhanu Pratapji for inviting me. So Professor Bhanu Pratap is always so kind to me. So this is an opportunity to have a interaction with faculty members of Maharishi University on the topic which is slightly different than my forte. Right. So Professor Bhanuji, do we have faculty members only from Maharishi University or from other universities also?
There are some faculty members from the other university also, sir.
Okay. And are they from Northern India or are they comfortable in Hindi or all of them are?
Sir, both things.
Mix.
You can use Hindi or English.
Okay.
It's up to you, sir.
Okay, sir. So, are the slides visible?
Yes, sir. Slide is visible.
Okay. So let me come to the PPT mode. So my topic is planning digital pedagogies and effective virtual communication. So one of the most difficult topic actually, because all of us are in same boat. This is a new thing, though in thing now, but all of us are, learning a lot as far as digital pedagogy is concerned or effective virtual communication is concerned. Because when you present something in front of audience in physical mode, then your body language of the participants, eye-to-eye contact, all those things matter a lot. However, in virtual mode, are the slides visible in PPT mode, presentation mode now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but in virtual mode, things are quite different. Now, when we talk about online education is predated to pandemic time, though it has become popular in pandemic time. But all of you must be, aware of MOOCs. All of you must be aware of Swam portal and other so many other digital platforms of learning. But before pandemic, it was a choice, right? And those who were comfortable in the delivery, those who were comfortable in learning, they were actually accessing these online platforms. However, due to the pandemic, there was a curb on physical meetings and spaces. We all know colleges, schools, they were all shut down. And then we all moved to the online education, and it was a forceful movement actually, not by choice, but by compulsion. But then came the new education policy, and in new education policy 2020, a lot of thrust was given on online education. And the thrust in the education policy was because of three reasons. One is enhancing students' choice in opting for the course. So learning across the boundaries. So suppose I'm a student and I have a good course available in some other university or some other institution. So this is for the enhancing the student choice. And that lead to the elimination of concepts of time and space associated with university. So my learning has to be as per my own choice, as per my own time of convenience, right? And third, this is to promote competition among the higher education institutions, right? Okay. Now, what is digital pedagogy? Most of the time when we talk about digital pedagogy, we feel that it is just about using digital technology for teaching. And because we are not able to teach physically, so the purpose is to compensate physical teaching, right? However, this is not about using digital technology for teaching only, but about approaching those tools from a critical pedagogical perspective. Means enhancing your teaching. So it is as much as about using digital tools thoughtfully as it is about deciding when not to use digital tools. Although in the time of pandemic, we don't have that choice. But beyond pandemic, if we look at the digital pedagogy, so we have to take a decision where we have to use it and when not to use these digital tools. And it is all about paying attention to the impact of digital tools on learning. Just not replacing physical delivery, but to create impact, okay, an additional impact. So Brian Croxell from Brigham Young University, he defined digital pedagogy as the use of electronic elements to enhance or to change the experience of education. So that we have to always keep in our mind. So when I say electronic elements, many of these elements we had been using before also. So like for example, PowerPoint presentation, MOOCs I mentioned about. We have platforms like Udacity, Coursera, we all know, which are offering free online education to general public. And as I said, that this is beyond pandemic. The concept of flipped classroom, so just changing the experience of classroom. Earlier, we used to have assignment at home, more teaching and learning in classroom. But flipped classroom is talking about more interaction in the class, assignment in the class, while student going through the text or the lecture at home. There are some innovative components, like we are talking about blogging assignments, using social media in the classroom, right? So it is about getting students to use the digital tool to test their ideas. Further, these electronic elements, we have to use them to change teaching and learning in variety of ways through thoughtful use of technology. I mean, it is not just rampant use of technology, but a thoughtful use to improve the impact of delivery or the learning experience. However, although I will be discussing some of the challenges, of this digital pedagogy or digital education, but one of the major challenges is the capacity building of the teachers. They are also not exposed. Not all of them are exposed to this kind of teaching methods. Other than digital divide, which is one of the major challenge of digital education, the next major challenge was the training of or the capacity of the teachers. The importance of teacher, whether we talk about the digital education or whether we talk about the physical education, the real physical delivery, the teacher's quality has a direct and positive impact on students' achievement. And they play very critical role in the learning path of a student. So teachers' training is required because here in this case, they must know about the electronic tools. They must know to employ integrated technology practices in their classroom to help students learn better. I'll be taking one or two case studies, which the practices developed in IIT Delhi, and these all practices were developed after getting the continuous feedback whether students are learning or how the students can learn in a better way. Furthermore, teachers act as planners, initiators, climate builders, facilitators, and guides, and they are central to the interpreting and implementing any curriculum. So that's why this teachers training again becomes an important aspect of digital pedagogy. Right. Now, if you talk about digital pedagogy, we have some components. The first one is the gathering. How to bring learners, how to gather them. So the first thing is to engage learners to use digital technology. They have to be comfortable. Together various types of online tools. So bringing tools as well as learners at one platform. Then, but now the question is, we have so many tools. So there is a need to evaluate tools which are able to fulfill the need. Second part, once the tools are available, the second part is learning to navigate. So we have to very efficiently navigate the digital world. It's my personal experience. Even today, I am not very comfortable in navigating this digital world. And the reason is the practice, the training. Then to communicate with people respectfully, to access information responsibly. The third part of digital pedagogy is design. So we have to understand the variability among learners. And this becomes difficult because when we interact with the learners physically, we look at their responses. So we know the variability, we can assess the variability. in the physical environment very easily. So when we go for digital education, the first thing we must recognize that there has to be variability among the learners. Then we have to develop learning goals. So this is all about designing of your delivery, designing of your curriculum or content. Then to identify barriers. Barriers can be different because of the variability in the learners, because of the digital divide, because of several things. And then to design learning experiences leveraging digital tools. How you can improve that digital learning experience. And the final component of digital pedagogy is empower. To understand the shifting roles of teacher and students is one of the major things we must understand in digital pedagogy. So once we do that, then we revisit assessments using digital technology. This is one of the major challenge we all are facing in digital education, right? Because we all are accustomed with the proctoral assessment. In case of digital assessment, in case of the assessment in digital education, we have to change the ways, right? Now, if we talk about the resources, what we have to explore, we need to explore text-based tools, image-based tools. This is all part of teachers' training. This all has to be the part of teachers' training. For example, I use Microsoft Teams as a IIT Delhi has, officially using MS Team for digital classes. But today also, after using it for almost 1.5 years, I'm not fully conversant with all tools available in MS Team. The reason again is the lack of training, lack of practicing those tools. The tools we have to look for: the text-based tools, image-based tools, audio tools, and video tools. The very different positive aspect of digital education is using of, so in classroom teaching, mostly either you use text-based tools or sometimes image-based tools. But you have two additional tools here, audio tools as well as video tools. And this makes the digital education more powerful, more impactful. Multimodal production tools, digital storytelling tools, learning management systems, 3D modeling tool, coding tools, assessment tools, social networking system, data analysis tools, web conferencing tools, website creation tools, and finally the knowledge organization sharing tools. So this is all we have to learn if we have to become a powerful teacher in this digital world. I talked about the evaluation of the digital tools. There are several tools available in the domain, but we have to evaluate them before using them. So the first criteria is usability, whether that tool can be used easily or not, whether it can be used on my device, whether it can be used on the devices of. So we have to come to the basic device which a student must be having, and then we have to choose the digital tool. So usability, usefulness is the next criteria. whether this tool assists in meeting learning goals or outcomes. Desirability, whether its visual aesthetics is appealing, attractive, or engaging, or whether it is creating some kind of or is it distasteful? Whether it is having tutorials, help pages, support options, and navigational structure of the tool is user friendly or not. Fifth, accessibility. For example, if it is free, that is the best thing, because that makes the tool affordable. Whether tool is providing students options and choices for their different preferences, needs, and abilities. So that is another part of accessibility. Whether this is accessible to all. What kind of internet accessibility is required? That is a bandwidth requirement. The sixth criteria is credibility. Is there a clear privacy policy that lets user maintain copyright over their creation? That is very important. Does the tool safeguard data from unauthorized access? Is the tool developed by a credible company? And finally, how valuable the tool is. Right? For example, does it provide support to save, to export the content as desired in variety of formats? Okay. So all these are the criteria to evaluate digital tools. This is, when we engage learners, these are our goals. I think we have to promote collaboration and community engagement as far as students' community is concerned. Facilitate self-assessment and reflection, facilitate individual choice and independence, increase quality of feedback, and vary difficulty level to provide challenges. So this is something similar to what we do in the classroom learning also. The only thing is, there we do it, we understand it physically and do it physically. Here you have to do it virtually, right? Now, the framework, if we talk about, there are several components. So very quickly we'll go through those components. So, for example, the first and foremost thing is a very clear unit roadmap and learning design. So students should have a very clear guidance on the contents, aims, intent, learning outcomes, and it should be given to the students in the beginning itself. The unit structure should be designed in such a way so that you navigate unit contents very efficiently, seamlessly, and the access to the information and learning material should be easy. The second component is inclusivity and accessibility. We'll keep on talking about that. When we talk about inclusivity and accessibility, it has got several components. Variability of the student is important in inclusivity and accessibility. So the content should promote inclusive experience for all the students. All students should have easy accessibility of teaching activity. When I say all students should have easy accessibility to teaching activity. What I'm trying to say that, for example, you're delivering. So your lecture should be recorded in, there should be a file in form of audio format. There should be a file in video format, simple PPT in PDF format, and it should be available to the student. And whenever he gets time, he can access that. If he is able to, if he has no restriction on internet, on the data, then he can access video files. If he has got limited data, he can access PDF files. He should be allowed to revisit learning materials in their own time. So that's why I said that whatever you are delivering, that should be saved, that should be shared with them. Many times we read in the newspapers that students, they are not having access to the digital learning because of two problems, because of the devices and because of the internet accessibility. Suppose a family of a laborer, he has got 2 or 3 children having only one smartphone. So if this material is available to the students, so out of those 3, anyone can, they can access these materials as per their own convenience, because this one mobile has to be shared by 3 of them. The third component is decolonization and representation. We have to create examples. We have to include the content which is inclusive and accessible to students of all cultural and ethnic backgrounds. In technical education, sometimes this is not a very big hurdle, but especially in humanities, we have to bring examples which cut across the cultural boundaries and ethnic boundaries. It should promote awareness of equality issues and allyship across the partners, across the associates. Right? And final component, which is again a very important component, is the assessment and feedback. Now, when I talk about assessment, we have to be very transparent and visible in declaring assessment criteria, in declaring marking schemes. It has to be very transparent. But I am also equally emphasizing on the term feedback. So this digital pedagogy is a continuous learning for teachers also. So most of the time in classroom learning, even in classroom learning, feedback of students is important. But many times you get the feedback of the student by looking at their faces, by their responses. So you get that feedback indirectly also. But here you have to create mechanism to get their feedback. Now, if you talk about the effective virtual communication, there are few principles we have to follow. Number 1, practice as much you can and get relaxed before the presentation. Know your content well before presentation. Organize your thoughts. Even today also, when I go to the class, half an hour I spend in gathering my thoughts. In digital classroom, many teachers, they feel that that kind of self-contained exercise is not important in this, because every content is available, everything is available, and he or she has just to read it out. But even in this digital classroom, this organizing thought is an important exercise. Anticipate questions and use positive self-talk. So this will help you in effective virtual communication. There are some factors which are very important in effective communication. One is physical skills of, I'll talk about those skills slightly, I'll elaborate on that. Then organization, content in the flow of the message, and the tools. These are the three important things. In physical world, only the physical skills, that is the delivery skills, and organization of the content or the flow of the information is important. But here, tools are also important, so that's why there is a triangulation. Tools already we have discussed a lot. So as far as physical skills are concerned, it is about language, it is about voice. So voice is pace of speaking, modulation. Some of these things are, natural, and some of these things we need to develop. This modulation of voice, pace of speaking, this becomes more important in virtual delivery. Right? When you are recording your lectures, you always should look at the camera. Because in classroom, it is possible to have eye contact with your students. But in this case, because camera is your student, a kind of, you can say. Body language, energy, again very important. Clothing, camera background. Multitasking. Sometimes in digital delivery, we get engaged in different tasks. Right? So that should be avoided. So there are certain tips for successful virtual communication. Number one, ensure everyone's points of view is heard. Test the technology ahead of time. Use of video tools. Be respectful to colleagues' time. So that happens many times. So I have a class from 12 to 1. I spill over because physically nobody is coming to me and asking me to, or requesting me to leave. Right? Gather feedback and improve. This is already I've talked about this. I will just cover a few of the challenges because there are a lot of discussion. You must have seen people have different arguments against digital education. So some of the arguments are about digital divide. So I'll talk about these challenges and then how to counter or how to deal with these challenges. We'll talk about that. So the first thing is digital divide and access to education. So National Sample Survey 2017-18 informed that only 9% of the students who are currently enrolled have access to essential digital infrastructure. Digital infrastructure means the devices, electronic devices, and internet accessibility, both. They talk about the challenges related to stakeholders' perspective. One of the argument is that there are three major stakeholders: students, parents, and teachers. And when this digital education was imposed, their point of view was not discussed, it is just imposed. Obviously, there is a huge difference as far as physical delivery or the physical class education or the class education in physical mode and in virtual mode. There is a sudden shift to online classes, right? And the fourth challenge, one of the major challenge, is fundamental shift in the nature of education. Now, how to tackle these challenges? The first is digital divide. Of course, digital divide is there. So in the beginning itself, I told you that when we are talking about digital education, digital pedagogy, it has got two components. One, using digital tools for powerful delivery, for increasing the impact of your delivery. So in that case, digital divide does not play any role. What I'm trying to say, even in physical form of education, digital tools can help you in improving your delivery, in bringing impact. One. Two, creation of MOOCs. They provide opportunity to students. Their accessibility is increased. The only question comes when we are replacing physical form of teaching by digital form of teaching. So what I have to say is that we are in transition mode. We have to think digital pedagogy as a tool for improving the impact. Though in pandemic time, it has almost become necessary to use it. In that case also, this digital divide can be minimized or can be bridged by some innovative ideas. I told you that sharing of your resources in different file formats, so that bandwidth requirement is low, so that student can access these resources whenever they have access to the hardware or whenever they get time. Second challenge, stakeholder perspective. I'm sure that with more and more resources available in the domain, students will always be benefited. There are certain challenges related to assessment. As far as teachers are concerned, the major concern of teachers is about their own capacity. So many of them they were lacking skills. But that again, the kind of FDP we are having, this week, organized by Maharishi University, is to fill up that gap. Now, if we talk about the qualitative difference, of course, there are inherent difficulties of teaching online. Teachers are not technically sound. They have very little knowledge with regard to digital technology. That again, as I said, the capacity building programs for the teachers will be useful in that. And the fourth final challenge, that is fundamental shift in the nature of the education. I would say that digital education, if it becomes low cost, the people argue that by digital education, education has become a product. But if it is low cost and as it is so flexible, so it is giving an opportunity to the student, or it is giving an individual a freedom, in the sense that student can learn whenever they wish and from whosoever. So this fundamental shift in nature of education, in that sense, is quite positive. However, many teachers, they argue that they have an argument that making students free to choose their own content, it would have a kind of negative impact on the teacher-student relationship. Actually, it is going to recast it. So they argue that classroom teaching is a typical example of service. And, this is something like a market. But again, I believe that the freedom it is giving to the students and freedom it is giving to the teachers also. So digital training program projects like this one should focus on equipping teachers with the right skill set to use the digital medium effectively in order to make learning fun, interactive, and immersive. And this is how we can deal with the challenges. So I think I can skip this slide. This is a very simple thing, some tips to make effective presentation. So this all of you know. Right, I just wanted to take one or two case studies. Some learning of different various professors in IIT Delhi, including one case study from me also. So this is the first case study shared by one of the professors in IIT Delhi. So one of the questions raised during the BTech presentations, BTech project presentation, was how to make it effective. And many students were complaining about accessibility of the devices, accessibility of internet, bandwidth, and so on. So he proposed a very unique idea, and he suggested that let students pre-record their presentation with voice only. And the student can create a PDF version of their write-up and thesis. And the student can self-fill through a shared document the details of the link to his or her video and the thesis or the project report. Then this is to be shared with all committee members or all the reviewers. And the shared file allowed committee member to put on record a question or clarification. And then it can go back to the student because it is accessible to the student also. So after watching the presentation at his or her own convenient time, committee member can record a question and clarification. And then finally, the committee can meet with the student only to hear answers, comment, questions, and clarifications. Not for the complete presentation. Presentation is already done. And this question answer session can be online as a video call or only audio call. And this requires only access to a telephone. So that is a minimal technical requirement for this kind of assessment. So, for example, he proposed this idea, and I'm just presenting the columns of the file, the shared document, which can be created. Name of the student, link of PowerPoint video, and for that also the link for tutorial will be there, link of PDF version of the report, and the question and answers by reviewer, so that student can prepare these questions and answers. Some of the, I was there in the presentation when this, so IIT Delhi conducted several training sessions for faculty members on digital teaching. So some of the faculty members, they had a question. They said that if we are giving questions and answers to the student before the presentation or before the this interactive session, will be well prepared. But the argument is that what is the aim of the project? The aim of the project is learning of the student. Evaluation is just one part. So if a student is having questions much before the session, he'll be going through, or he or she will be going through to his or her thesis in detail, to the literature in detail, and that is the aim, right? So the second case study is use of webcam or mobile phone camera for pen and paper teaching. Very quickly I can show you this. So this is again a very important, this is again an innovative idea by a professor. So we, as I told you, that we use MS Team for teaching. So this is, so many course content, it requires, or many faculty members, they are comfortable with blackboard teaching. They love to write. They love to, so for example, if a mathematical subject is there, how to go for the derivation? And he is not very comfortable with the advanced digital tools. He want to use pen and paper, or for example, he want to use blackboard. So just by using a mobile phone on MS Team, he or she can do it. So what are the equipment required? Only laptop, mobile phone, paper, and pen. Some optional accessories, a flexible phone stand, a microphone which can control the noise, LED lighting for the better presentation, which currently I am not having. Right. So simple 5-step. Join MS Team meeting as a guest also from your own mobile phone, in addition to your login from laptop. Okay, this is addition. So you have to log in as a guest, not as a presenter or organizer of the meeting. Keep audio off and video on mobile. We all, if we are comfortable with MS Team and on other digital platforms also, there are such facilities available. So at the participant, if you, there is an option available for each participant. So organizer of the meeting can choose a participant and pin its video. There is an option available, right? So once the meeting starts, pin your guest video, means pinning my own video from mobile. So from mobile, I have joined as a guest, and from laptop, I have joined as an organizer. So my full screen video from the mobile is now visible at the screen. I can choose any side of the camera depending on which is a powerful camera. So back side or front side camera. And this camera will be focusing on the pad, writing pad. So whatever I will be writing on the pad, that will be captured by the camera and that will be shown on my laptop screen. Then of course, screen share and all. So this is typically what the arrangement is. So you can see there is a mobile camera is focused on piece of paper, and this, because this mobile user is pinned by the organizer. So whatever I'm writing on the paper is available on the screen. And then, of course, the rest is similar to any lecture on MST. You can record it and do whatever. This is a third case study. Actually, I had to take some online lectures of some school students. We were organizing a workshop for school students. So besides, so what we did, so this was related to a laboratory thing. So water quality sampling and testing. So we created a video. It was a live class where my students were working in the laboratory, and it was being telecast. However, before that, we tried to sensitize students with a lot of things in a lot of equipment available in the laboratory. So what we did, we captured the images of those equipment, either available digitally, or if not available, then we clicked some good photographs in the laboratory. Though initially we thought that it will be a redundant exercise, because what is the point in showing beaker photograph? But later on we found, when we got the response from the students, they actually could revisit laboratory in their mind. So we started with as simple as funnel. Okay. So one photograph and how it is used, or why it is used in laboratory. One very simple statement on that. So I'll just quickly go through because I'm approaching to the end. So for example, this is funnel. Then Florence flowers. So we took a picture. We found it in the digital world only. So different sizes. So he is having a feel. So when you enter into the lab, you find such things there, and then you understand. So that he has a feeling that how 50 ml flask looks like, or how 3000 ml flask looks like. And simple sentence, used to hold and heat water. A simple statement. Graduated cylinder. Again, a simple line, used to measure liquids. So this we we took this photograph in the lab only. But this is not a very good quality. So this is again a learning for us. So this photograph quality is not so good. Then test tubes, different sizes, right? Again, a simple statement. Test tube rags. So whatever we use, we actually showed them everything. Test tube holder. Okay. Dropper. This is something very common. So we decided to capture the photographs of everything, right? Crucible tongs, pipette, and then how these pipettes are used. One illustration about upper stop, first stop, second stop. And then the same thing we tried with the video, right? So with this slide, with the help of this slide, so this image goes deep to the mind of the students. Now, when they look at this pipette, this micropipette actually in laboratory, they will have this picture in their mind, right? Digital balance. Okay. So this slide, I kept it, this is to show you sometimes we miss the color combination. Sometimes we make the presentation, so and we don't read it again. Specifically, I use this slide for that. So there is no picture, as well as the color of the font is not so appealing. Okay. Ring stand, wire gauge, Bunsen burner, everything. Right. Now, then we were talking about one important experiment was related to the calorimeter and spectrophotometer. So we thought that let us talk about some principle of the light, because they must understand how a spectrophotometer works. And when we are talking about spectrum, they must know what is a spectrum. So we included this slide, right? Then, of course, the calorimeter. Just by looking at the equipment, they don't understand. Okay, right. So, measuring pH, we included pictures of all different type of pH measuring systems. pH strip, probe, digital meters, everything. Okay, this is something interesting. I think there is some change in this. Right. So we were talking about nutrients, measuring of nutrients. So then we included this picture. So what is the impact of that? So this was success. So we were talking about salt. So this picture we used to show them that how salt is distributed in the sea. So this all made our exercise quite a good experience for the students as well as for us also. Right. So that's all for today. So thank you very much. Thank you for patient hearing. And once again, I must thank Maharishi University, Professor Bhanu Pratap ji, Vice Chancellor Maharishi University, for inviting me for today's talk and giving me this opportunity. Thank you. And thank you for Dr. Nikita for introducing me. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kumar. for such an enriched and interesting session, which shed light on how the faculty can go around creating pedagogies for the involvement of students in online education, along with taking control of effective communication in the virtual classes. Now, the session was very highly detailed and explanatory, and it covered most of the questions or the doubts which we were getting from the participants. So thank you once again, sir, for such an engaging session. I would now like to request VC sir to extend his gratitude note.
Thank you, Dr. Nikita. Thank you so much, sir, for your sparing valuable time in your busy schedule. It's a great honor to all participants to be a part of your knowledgeable session. Thank you once again, Professor Vivek Kumar. We will be in touch for future session. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.